Welcome to the show. So what is this podcast all about, Sam? Why are we here early in the morning before work has begun to talk about StoryMatters, storytelling?
Yeah, so a couple reasons we're doing this show, Paddy, is if you're listening to this podcast, chances are you might have entered our community through a video on Facebook. Well, I actually prefer personally to listen to podcasts. So this podcast is a different medium, probably a more intimate one through which to discuss the ideas that we teach at StoryMatters. It's also a chance to discuss the interviews of people, mentors and experts in the field, and I think just start a long-running, never-ending, hopefully, conversation on storytelling. The topic is a bit broad, and while we are mainly business owners and marketers listening to this podcast, I think it's very helpful to go outside of our field and our comfort zone to explore different ideas. That's one of the ways that I became a marketer, was doing that.
I think, I'm super excited about this. This is the first time I've ever been a host for a podcast. I've been a guest a few times. And maybe we should just put a little health warning on this podcast to say we are literally podcastaholics, and we understand your pain, but we also understand your love for podcasting as well. So we're going to try and express that. But another warning is we're two super historian type people, and we love history. So
well, in this format, much more so even than the video content that we put out, you will hear probably deepest thoughts and insights on storytelling, because I've listened to 4-hour podcasts before. I'm not threatening you with podcasts of that length, but I've listened to very long podcasts before. And the reason I love podcasts is it's so easy to listen to something throughout the day, break it up. You've got a long run. I like to go for long, slow runs and just listen to podcasts. Sometimes you're doing something you can't get out of, housework or whatever you have to do. And it's what I think the most effective, busy, efficient people, the way they learn. I know that I've not had a lot of time to read, which is my favorite form of consuming content, just because of how busy I am. But podcasting has really filled that gap. And you feel like you get to know some of your authors, some of my authors that I love and listen to, mentors who have podcasts. I think it's actually the best way to learn in many respects. So it's as if you're sitting next to Paddy and I having a beer. That's the kind of feeling we want to have. No strict agenda, but some points we want to hit.
So, Sam, before we talk about what we're going to talk about today, what is this podcast not? Is this going to be a place to come and find tactics and tricks and how to do the best audience segmentation on Facebook?
No, all these things that we do in our funnel are right now, as of August 2017, are important, but they're going to change. So rather than stay at the tactical level, I mean, who knows what Facebook's going to be in 5 years? Maybe there's a brand new social network. Facebook came out of nowhere and swamped every other technology platform out there. I mean, Google 20 years ago didn't exist. Facebook 10 years ago, or 15 years ago didn't exist. So storytelling's ancient. It's stood the test of time, and I think, and one of the things we'll talk about is why it's now more important than ever. But don't want to get lost in the weeds of storytelling. Of course, we're going to have some guests on who will talk about what's working right now, but we always want to bring it to the higher level, which is all the tips and tricks and tactics and hacks out there in the marketing world are not really that interesting to me, because I believe none of that really matters until you get one thing right, and that's the story. And once you nail your story, you can get a lot wrong. And if you nail your story, you're going to speak to people. Like if you tell people, you show them a better future, a better story they can live for their life, and then you provide a path through your free products, your paid products to get there, then you can change their lives. And they'll forgive a lot of mistakes. They'll forgive like setting up your Facebook ad wrong and having bad copy and bad subtitles and things like that. But what they won't forgive is not showing that you get them, you understand the story they're living, and you show them a better story that they can invest in. And it's really the fundamental idea behind marketing and sales, is helping people buy a better future.